How are we? We all well? Right. Today I'm going to be talking to you about your achievements, right, and being needed, okay, and used. So 3 subjects, right, that I've come across from, being depressed or coming from where I've come from. Anyway, pretty much also my life. And I think a lot of people can understand what I'm saying. If you say, you mightn't be good at sports, so you feel a bit, like this, whatever. Right, so being used. The difference between being used and needed, right? So I've found, since I've spoken out, and, not spoken out, even before I spoke out, and had the balls to speak out about what happened with me, and that when I was down there, I didn't just go down there and then just started my channel. Okay, it took a lot to put things into perspective on how I was going to put this across to people, right? And I just want to make that clear. I'm learning, as I said before, right? But I'm talking, and so I'm only talking from how I've been confronted, and not just that there. Also, before I was depressed or anything like that, just working in security, pubs, as I said, bodyguard. I've had numerous jobs, okay? I was a building operations manager at a hospital. I was in control of a hospital, engineering and stuff like that. I've been, not just to security, I've built trucks, motorbikes, I've raced motorbikes, so an array of things, right? I'm an avid horseman as well. Fighter, boxing, martial arts, all of this, went to the gym, if you want to say bodybuilding, right? I didn't go there for that though. So I've turned my hands to a lot of things. Because I'm a very practical person, doesn't mean that I don't understand academic side as well. I do, but my forte, my harness is more hands-on. But I have in myself as a kid, because I suffer from dyslexia, and that was first discovered back in the 70s when we were thought we were dumb, right? So I learned differently, but not slower or any differently. In some cases, I was smarter than the kids that actually could read or write, because I could see a practical way through things, and that with maths and everything else like that. And also you can go on, a lot of wealthy people in the world are dyslexic. Richard Branson being one, right? Kerry Pracker being another, Shane Warne, late Shane Warne, God rest his soul, people like that. Anyway, so about being used and needed, the difference. When I've found that, so when you're down and depressed, doesn't mean you're stupid, okay? You still know people, you know what you're good at, you know what you can do. I worked on motorbikes, and that I've got a knack with engines. I can just work on anything and put things together. All right, to tell a quick story, I was when I was on the gear, on the ice, right? You meet strange people, okay? And when they find out that you're good at something, right, that they're not. For example, as we know, in that world of the drugs today, there's a lot of theft of motorbikes, cars and stuff like that, and they don't necessarily get the keys, or they thrash them, whatever else like that. So me being on the drug, right, ice, but kept to myself. I didn't run away with those people. I got my stuff and I came home. But they seem to burrow into your life, right? And they're quite, you've got to, how can I put this? You need to be careful with those people, even though you want to just get your stuff, come home and leave it. They're not depressed. They walk with a reason of sorrow. They're making it up. Where my reason of whatever was real, theirs is just they want people to feel sorry for them. I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. I just want to get me drug, go home and do my shit, right? Okay? But then you've got to appease them because they're nuts, okay? They steal, right? They're reckless. And, in one way or another, you live in the same area, and I don't want anything hurting my home. So you sort of bend a bit, as much as you wouldn't socialise with those people, whether you're on the drug or not. I didn't want to socialise with them at all, right? But you bend a little bit just to keep that happy bit there, right? And they find things out. So one case where this bloke, he had an R1, he blew the engine in it, right? And this is no joke, Mary can vouch for this. I said, yeah, okay, I can fix it, no worries, right? Anyway, so he brought the R1 around, and a spare engine. Literally, this motorbike came in 4 buckets. Okay, this was a 2016 R1, so it was the one with the flat plane crank, right? So full electrics, full schematics, everything, but all the wires had been hacked. Obviously, it was a hottie, right? And he wanted a new engine in it. And literally, the bike came with a frame, wheels, rolling chassis, engine fucked, new engine, well, not much better anyway, and just all these buckets full of shit, right? As much as people might think they're scattered fuckheads because they're the ones who are walking around with a sob story. Oh, can you do this? Oh, I feel this. And they just want free shit, okay? Free junk, right? Free gear, right? So, and it also took my mind off things. So I used them as much as used me. But I put that bike back together in my garage. Got all the schematics working, okay? But, so I knew what I was good at. I can work on motorbikes. You know, I could do my job as security, okay? And something like that. But then you get other people who, they use you, right? Like that, they were using me for that, okay? Now, I knew what I was good at, and I did do this sometimes. When they talked down to me or said, well, we haven't finished yet, or you haven't done it yet, you sort of go, oh, yeah, no, like, I'm here to say this, right? Before you got depressed, okay, you know what you're good at. You know what you're good at, okay? So even when you're depressed state, or not depressed state, but just in your lull, right? Don't let anybody, right, tell you what you should be doing or how to do it when they have no idea themselves and they're lording it over you, okay? Such as this picture here, okay? There's Papa Teddy, there's Mama Teddy, and that's what we're made to feel when we're depressed. Little Teddy, okay? And this is how most people I've seen, when they voice out that they have a mental illness or they just PTSD, whatever it may be, okay? Society tends to look down upon them like they're a child. They don't know anything at the moment. They're dumb, right? Right? And unfortunately, when you're in that lull and then you're feeling needed, though, they put their hand on your back and everything, and you like that feeling, right? You sort of yourself sort of conform into that. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, whatever you say. I'm here to say this, right? That's okay in some points, right? If the nurturing's correct, right, or the caring's correct. But if they're telling you how to do something that you already know how to do before you were depressed or whatever, okay, you need to just turn around and say this, right? You need to do this. You know what? Keep this aside. That's not you anymore, right? Okay, right? Whoever the person is that's been making you feel like you don't know anything because they've seized on a problem, you either take drugs, so that makes you stupid. That doesn't make you stupid, okay? Doesn't make you stupid, right? You take alcohol, doesn't make you stupid, okay? This is in the manner on how you're taking it though. If you've always been taking drugs and you've always been drinking, then you are a bit stupid, okay? But I'm talking if it's just a come-on effect, like a self-medicating thing. You're not stupid. So you know what you're doing, okay? So whoever's making you feel a bit, that you can't speak up and you can't stand up and say, don't talk to me like that, I know what I'm doing, and you feel suppressed by this person. You know what you do? You get this person and you get it by the shoulder. Good shot by the shoulder, yeah? You see this? Yeah? And then just fuck them off, okay? And then that person, because there will be a pack of them, right? So you've just shown your fucking strength. And then you pull up next to this one here, yeah? And you go, how you going? You good? You well, mate? Wake the fuck up, right? You look at me now. You look at me for the person that I was and I am. And I still am. Just because you get depressed, right? Or you have a problem in your life or something comes along that knocks you down, okay? Don't let anybody make you feel useless or you don't know what you're doing. We all know to put our hand up when we don't know something. You ask questions. But if you know what you're doing, right, and they've asked for your help, and then they're barking orders at you, why isn't it done yet? Do you know what you're doing? And all of this shit, just stand up and say, hey, I don't like this environment. You're putting pressure on me, okay? I do suffer and I'm a bit anxiety. My anxiety's coming. Can you mind taking 2 steps back? right? And I'll give you some pointers on what do I mean, right? I did this, and I just want to make this quite clear, right? There's a gentleman, Jamie, you've heard me speak of him before, and his girlfriend, wife, Ash, from Shepparton, right? Okay, I met Jamie, and he was so thankful to meet me, and I gave him the time, and then he had issues, and I rang him up, and I said, what are you doing? You know, you shouldn't be doing that. This is about the option thing, okay? All right? I said, don't do that. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you gone back to your boss? Have you spoke? They're options. I didn't just say you're an idiot, don't do that. I give him options. I said, you shouldn't have done that. Have you tried this? That's called optioning, giving him the option. Okay? Now, he's since done that, right? And he's kicked on in his job. Same job, mind you. Okay? And his life is getting better. I told he was drinking alcohol, right? And he was also substance abusing as well, right? And I told him, don't stop, but wean it down. And take it in a point when you do go to sleep that at least 70% of it is out of your system when you've woken up. Don't go to bed pissed or inebriated, okay? Have a good glass of water, have a meal, right? I will say this, exercise and nutrition is very important, okay? Right? But I'm not going to sit here and talk to you all about nutrition like some other YouTubers do and getting fit and going to the fucking gym and everything else like that. All I can say is this, if you need to clear your head and you don't have a motorbike, go for a walk. But don't fill your head up with, you know, don't put your Walkmans on, okay? Go out for a walk and listen to life. Listen to what's going on around you, because it's the same story everywhere. You're not the only one suffering. But if you put those headphones on, you don't hear anything by yourself, by your fucking self, okay? But I am the big one on music. Music is important, but you can't listen to the same music that you were before when you weren't depressed. That music won't help you. You need to find other music like I did. And I'll go into that another time. But what I'm speaking about now, so Jamie. Now, he's called and I've said that I'll catch up with him. I'll catch up with him. And it's not that I haven't. I've chosen not to on the basis of this. That's his achievement. He did that. He listened to what I say. He listened to what I had to say and heard it. And then I let him loose. And he went back to his boss. And his boss and him worked it out. And then he worked it out with Ash. And he's living a lot better. Who am I to walk up there once he's got it all in and then walk in the door and go, hey, how you going? Then have it, oh, thanks, Justin. No, I don't need the thanks. I'm not going to steal that limelight for him. That's his. And he can forever keep that because he did it. He listened to me, but I gave him options. I didn't tell him which option to take. And he chose the right way. So that's his. People who come in and say, oh, well, I helped you do this and everything else, when you're down and you're coming up, those people, you know what? Those people, fuck them off. Because you'll feel forever in their debt for your achievement that you could have done. Right? They've chosen, they're manipulated, they're narcissistic is what they are. And you'll figure these people out. They're the users. They're not the needers. Okay? A bit like another person. So Jamie and them, I'm not going to take that from him. He's kicked on. And I'll be seeing him hopefully before the $1 million bogan ride. Okay? Okay, Jamie and Nash, right? So good on you, mate. That's why I haven't come up. I wanted that to be immersed in you. That's your achievement and Ash's achievement, and there is no thanks to me. I just say thank you for listening. Thank you for having a breath, to listening to someone else. I didn't tell you what to do. You just listened. And I put the options out there that you told me you had in where you live. Okay? And good on you. You chose well and you're doing great. Another person, Tom, he reached out to me. He was living in his car. I'm not to go there and tell him, but I did tell him this. Right, I'm not going to go into detail, but the fact was, bad relationship. And I said, well, okay, that's that. So you're left with this. So you know what to do. Right? And it straightened him up. It popped him up. And I went, fuck, stop. You got to stop thinking about the one that's happened. But it's where you are now. He was living in his car for 9 weeks. It's not because he wasn't working. He was working in the same job. And I haven't been to his place, his new house that he's got, the rental property he's got. Why? Because that's his achievement. Okay? I haven't seen Tom since that day because, he's getting his bike back together and everything else like that from paint. and everything. And that's when I'd like to see him again, when he's on his bike. You know, and he's fully achieved everything then. He's got the house, and then he's got his bike back together. That's his achievements, right? But I gave him options for it. He looked at the options, right? They're always there, okay? But I'm not someone who, so that's someone who needed help, and I'll give him, I'm not using him, right? Tom works for a distributing company, right? And he gave me a big bag of sausages. Now, realistically, he told me a couple of things, and I could have reached out all the time and said, I want this. I'm not about that. I'm not a user. I'm there to help, all right, if any way I can, right? So getting back to that, there'll be people when you're down and you want to uplift yourself, so you always want to do good. And then you've got these predators that know, oh, okay, he knows this person or she knows this person, no, they can do that, they can get this for me, and this. Because when you're depressed, you don't lose your ability to do what you're good at or know who you know and stuff like that. So people will find that out about you, and they'll go, oh, we'll make out we need them and make them, you know, feel important, and we'll help them, you know, but really we're using them, but it's all right, then they'll do it, they'll be happy to do it, right? So watch out for that. When people are coming to you while you're depressed and saying, oh, can you do this? But you look at why. It's a difference between someone going, right, we need to get him out of the fight. Like a couple of mates of mine, you know, there are a few. There's many people who I've met through this channel and stuff like that. But I just want to get it out to you. Like, you do need to check yourself, and you need to check everybody who's coming into your life once you've announced that you are suffering depression or you've been in a bad spot, like me, especially with me. Like, people get a bit scared and that, or a bit worried, or they want to know more about the story just for their own self-good in regards to suicide, my attempted suicide. Why did you come to that? Why did this? And I credit one person where Mary and I went, and that we were over at a friend's place, and this particular person's partner asked, what led you to that point? And I stopped. And to her credit, I won't say her name, but to her credit, she'll know who she is if she watches this video. To her credit, and this isn't taking anything away from anyone else that was there, right? Okay, but you could feel he was interested in it in a manner that it's a question to ask. It wasn't a bad question. It's the question to ask. Obviously, we're on the subject of that, and so it just popped up. And he asked it. He said, well, what led you to want to take your own life? Well, it's a combination of a lot of things, right? And build up and everything and stuff. But I'll give it to this, and everyone else there, right? Not that they were scared to ask it, but they were more, that they were willing to let it go. And everyone, I'll just also this, everyone who else was there all cared very much, okay? But this one particular person, to use a better, well, to just use a word, who actually stepped up and said, and that I barely knew, right, turned around, which was this person's partner, right? She said, I think that's a family thing. And because she watched me and she could see the anxiety was building up. I'm not saying the other people didn't see it. I'm not saying that they didn't care. Because, as I said before, you don't know whether that should have come out or anything. But just the fact of, if you're with a sufferer or a worrier, if your intentions are for the best, there's nothing wrong that you can say or do if you've got the best intention, okay? And that was the best thing that could have been said at that point in time. I think that's a family matter. It didn't stop me from being able to continue talking about what happened and the feelings of it and stuff like that. It just stopped there on why, okay? That's it. But it didn't stop anything else. So if you know you're good at something and you know are good at something, you need to watch the people who come into your life and see if you're being used by them or if they are just getting you out to keep busy, all right? And things like that. Just be aware of that, all right? You know, when you suffer with depression or you've attempted a suicide or you've thought about it or something like that, or something's just not going right in your life, regardless of mental illness, nothing's going right, doesn't mean you're stupid or you've just turned silly. You can't turn silly, okay? You just can't turn silly, all right? It's a known fact. You can bash your head up against the wall and have brain damage. That doesn't turn you silly. That turns you into, you can't do that anymore. You've forgotten, okay? You're a bit slower now, but it doesn't mean you're stupid, okay? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? All right? All right? Because I have had a severe accident where I had an enclosed head injury. Okay? All right? Enclosed, meaning enclosed, my brain spun in my skull and all 4 points of my brain were bruised. And that can never heal again. It heals, but it heals different. You are a different person on you straight away, right? But it made me, I felt that and I could feel there was a change. Being aware of yourself is very important. You need to check yourself. You don't wait for other people to check you, right? You check yourself. But if someone is checking you, look at how they're checking you. If they're checking you in a manner where they're pulling you up and making you feel less than what you are or what you should be, then pull them up and say, hey, don't talk to me like that. All right? So there is a time to feel, a bit to curl up and go and listen, yes. But depending on what the subject is. If it is something that you know about and how to do, right, tell them to fuck off. You don't need them in your life. Because believe me, it's amazing. The saying's true. When you're weak, a lot of people will come into your life. A lot. And they're not all there for the best intention for you. Their best intention is for themselves. Okay? All right? So be aware of that. To the sufferers and also the worriers too. People who worry are also very vulnerable to being used because you're not thinking. And so that's for both parties, the worriers and the sufferers. Okay? Be very aware of the people who do come into your life once you've announced that you're worrying about something or you're suffering from something. Right? Because you will get a lot of traffic into your life. Right? And then that's not always there for their best intention. Okay? And you're going to have to fish with a net. Right? So before you bring your catch in, you're going to have to net it, check the size, everything, and then some of them, you're going to have to throw them back. All right? Simple. Now, on a funny note, because that's how I'm going to end this, on a funny note, now Mary's got cocky on her lap, so I don't know how this is going to go, but on a funny note, I'd just like to point out, right, on the news, they've welcomed in the new year, right? So, it's in Australia on Bondo Beach. So, come and have a look at this. I don't know, I can't see because Mary's got the phone, so I can't see. Are you watching this?
Yep.
Right, so I'll turn it up. Now, this is Bondo Beach, okay? Bondo Beach. So what do you expect to see on Bondo Beach? Really, even though we're a multicultural country, what do you expect to see? You reckon the cameraman or something like this would concentrate on an Aussie?
Aussies.
An Aussie, okay. Well, let's have a look and see what they did here. All right, here we go.
Break on Bondo Beach, many diving into 2024 without a wink of sleep.
It's a very good start.
It's a very good start. That's not Australian in my mind, okay? But they are now going to show you the very rare and unseen, okay? And I can only say it like this. Cock, yes you heard it, cock with lungs, okay? This is a very rare, they call it the mullet cock with lungs, okay? Never seen sunlight. It's almost like an axolotl, okay? Very rare, under rocks and stuff like that. Mainly found in utes doing burnouts with pizza cutter tyres on. Don't really see much. Always got a bong in hand, okay? Here he comes. He's coming up. Cock with lungs. Just imagine this. Cock with lungs. You got it?
Those a little worse for wear crashed wherever they could. Nothing a dip in the ocean couldn't fix.
It's probably what I needed.
That is a cock with lungs. That is a cock with lungs right there. I don't know his name, but he's chosen to be on TV. He's opened himself up to that, or he's transparent himself to that. Anyway, so in that, go get a pie. Hope you understand what I'm trying to say. You know who you are. You know what you can do. Okay? So if you feel pressured by somebody, tell them. Back off a bit. I know what I'm doing here. Okay? Don't let people use your depression or whatever your drug use in the past as something that you need to be ashamed of and you become stupider because you did it. That's not the case. All right? So go get a pie and go feed a cock with lungs.